Chapter 9. We need some reassurances from you, that's all. Ray's line manager shifted uneasily. His wardrobe had been bare this morning, the clothes on the floor stained and stinky. He'd squeezed into a stiff dress shirt meant for a tux. Hadn't worn it in years, not since his sister's last wedding, and it pinched the chubby folds of fat in his armpits. He kept glancing down, worried his belly button might peek out. Come on, Ray. You know how this works. She examined the clutter on his desk. 6 dirty coffee cups, a few broken eye lines, a miniature souvenir samurai sword on a plinth, and a Father's Day holo card that was low on power. The projection flickered. You the dad the. We're not some boutique practice helping top execs attain their goals. Our clients want bog standard employee upgrades, nothing fancy, he continued. They want them cheap and they want them fast. That's what we do. That's your job. I don't care how you do it, just do it. Quick, cheap adjustments. The clients are happy, we're happy. You don't get disciplined. Capiche? An outburst from the floating head projecting from the manager's eye line interrupted them. It belonged to the divisional area manager, who was talking to someone on another call. So, just tell them to fuck off and take another look at our original valuation. I don't give a shit. Just tell them. We're not a fucking charity. He finished the call abruptly, and his grey-blue bodiless head swivelled around to Ray. Right, I haven't got long. What's the problem here, JT? She's not getting her adjustments finished on schedule. Reports are sloppy, late. Some adjustments are, well, a bit off-centre. Clients aren't happy with her attitude. OK, I'll get the picture. Listen, what's your name? Her name's Ray. OK, listen, Ray. Just because we use the same tech does not mean we're some elite neurosculpting boutique. Our clients just want standard employee upgrades. They want them cheap and they want them fast. That's your job. I don't give a fuck how you do it. Just fucking do it. Quick, cheap adjustments. The clients are happy. We're happy. You don't get fired. Get it? The divisional area manager vanished the moment he hung up. Ray wanted to explain. The cluster they were referring to was complex. All the clusters she got these days were complicated. That was the problem with their bargain basement service. They ended up with the absolute dregs and nowhere near enough time to do a proper job. It wasn't just a case of clicking your fingers and fixing a few target problems. These clusters were enmeshed. It took time to perform that kind of precision work, time she wasn't granted. I understand. You're right, Ray said. Of course, I'll do better. It's been a tricky patch, but I'm focused now. Her manager looked at her helplessly. You know, it's not like I enjoy reading you the riot act here, Ray. I know. You're in a tricky position too. I can see that. It can't be easy managing all this. No, it's not. He leaned towards her and lowered his voice. You probably noticed that Terry was a little curt just now. Well, we'd arranged to go virtual golfing together on Wednesday, but then he said he couldn't make it. And I think we both know what that means. Ray nodded, unsure what to say. I mean, it's not that I hate my job, her line manager continued. I don't hate it. It's just that it doesn't stretch me. I mean, no offence, but managing pattern mode text isn't exactly challenging. Ray shook her head with concern. Well, that is tricky, yeah, I see that. Her boss always laid it on her like this. She'd no idea why. Probably just the shape of her face or something, some indecipherable quality that made other people confide in her. Between you and me, Terry said I might be in with a chance of promotion by the end of the year. There's a directives analyst post come up in Athens, but I don't know. The heat doesn't agree with me, and the thing is, he might just be stringing me along. Sometimes it's like he doesn't take me seriously, like he doesn't respect me. Don't say I said anything, though. Oh, no, of course not. Sounds like you're in a real bind. Is there anything I can do? The manager thought for a moment, then proceeded into a blow-by-blow account of his life problems. He counted them off on his fingers. The disappointing career, his messy divorce, the distant and troubled teenagers, the aircon in his apartment, the ache in his lower back, noisy neighbours, his general disenchantment with modern life. The list went on. Ray sat and listened. She nodded and feigned surprise whenever it seemed appropriate. But apart from the occasional, "No, you don't say," they never did. And, well, that's just typical, isn't it? Ray didn't say anything for over half an hour. Mind drifting, she sat up suddenly as she remembered something. She hadn't responded to that message inviting her to her old friend's reunion. Must be coming up soon. Never mind, Ray thought. She wasn't in the mood to hang out with that lot. It didn't really feel like it. They were hard work. Maybe another time. Eventually, once he'd regurgitated enough of his troubles, her line manager drew their conversation back to work. "Oh, yes, Ray, your cluster tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock. The market researchers?" Yes. Simon is out. Clients had enough of him. Don't want to throw good money after bad. Got the boot today. Ray thought for a moment, trying to put a face to the name. Then she remembered. Simon had been working on the phones for a couple of years whilst trying to break into a modelling career. But despite his efforts, it hadn't gone to plan. Against his mother's advice, he insisted on turning himself out in all manner of outfits, inspired by the very highest fashions. In their last metastasis session, he'd worn a day-glow leopard print nappy over spray-on jeans, with a bulky trench coat woven from hundreds of little girls' pigtails. The young man spent his mother's money on an equally innovative portfolio, but found that no reputable modelling agency would touch him. And so he'd seen little actual work. As his frustration with the fashion industry had grown, his productivity at the Market Research Centre had waned. He turned up to his work pod each day like a mardy toddler with a face like a smacked bun. Simon had only just been on a course of metastasis, but his results were still lacking. Wow. Tough break for the kid, Ray conceded. Not really, Ray, no. Point is, you have a new member joining the cluster. Ray clenched her jaw. Thing is, that's actually a bit of an issue. Issue? You remember? After 4 sessions, we shouldn't accept new members. I think this is their 6th session now. 7th. Yeah, exactly. You remember? Instability issues. We can drop members, but we can't introduce new ones. It's a law of consistency problem. Problem? Well, not a problem as such, more of a risk factor. Ray, the contract is paid for. Oh, yeah, sure. This is one of our most loyal clients. Uh-huh. There are expectations. We have made arrangements. Of course, I mean, naturally, it's just... Ray, I've every confidence you'll deal with any issues that arise. Well, that's... yes. Problems like these are your bread and butter, right? I've no need for concern here, have I? Oh, no need for concern. Have you got a file for the new member? He tapped his eyeline a few times, and Ray felt a vibration on her wrist. Thanks, that's great. I suppose I'd better be... Yes, you clear off now, Ray. Long day tomorrow. Alone in the elevator, heading for the car stack, Ray brought up the file and projected a portrait of the new girl on the wall. Young woman, jet black hair and Persian features. A tattoo creeping up her neck. Animation. Electric patterns spiralled around each other, bloomed out of her shirt collar, up her neck, and along her shaved hairline. It was a tasteful design. The ink flowed with a pleasant lull that drew you in.